Hey Sundowners, it's Christian Dyke, and today I wanted to talk to you about licensing your music as an artist. So how do you take your music as an artist and not compromise? You know, you want to get it into shows, you want to make some money from it, but how do you do it so you don't change your music in any way? And this really comes into play when you target your music. And as I've said before, you have to target your music instead of using what I call a shotgun approach, which is, a lot of people use this as they'll take their music, produce it, write it, and, turn it into their ultimate dream of what they want to do as an artist. And then they just put it up on some websites and, some libraries, and they hope something happens. And that's really kind of a faith-based approach. And you really don't want to do it that way. There's a much smarter way of doing it, which is targeting it. And the way to target your music is you're going to do things like go to a website, for example, called tunefind.com is a great one. That's TUNEFIND.com. And basically, once you get in there, you can type in, different shows, and you can hear sort of the theme of the music that they're using. So you'll see all of the music that they used in the show, and you can kind of go through the playlist and essentially figure out all the, what the patterns are in there and sort of how to write your music accordingly, so you fit in that ballpark. And that's really targeting your music so that when it gets to the music supervisor, they say, hey, I just placed a bunch of tunes like that. That's really great. So here's what we're going to do. And we're going to put this song in the show because it fits with everything else that's in the show. But what if you're an artist and you really don't want to compromise your music at all? You look at it as like selling out or something like that. Well, the way to go about that is there's two strategies. So the first one is when you go through TuneFind or go through a YouTube channel that has all of the music listed for all the shows, and you find those patterns and you find those things, look for shows that have music that sounds a lot like yours already. So if you're already in a vein, if you do death metal and you find something that uses that a lot in a show, that's great. You can probably already start pitching the music that you have. But, often you won't find that, in certain shows that you want to get in or whatever. You want a more diverse sort of library of music that you're putting out. Then the second strategy comes in very handy. So the second strategy is separate your artistic music from your licensing music. And what I mean by that is all the artists out there, I'm sure that you've, sat down at the piano, picked up your guitar, and come up with something that is, very different than what you normally write. You probably have like 80% of your songs fit on your record and you get up and you play them live. And then you've probably got these other kind of weird scraps of music or maybe a few that unfinished pieces of music that are totally kind of, out to lunch when it comes to your sort of artistic thing. But they sounded really good at the time. You just came up with a riff, maybe stuck some lyrics on it, and you think, man, that's really cool. How am I ever going to use that, right? Well, the thing is that if in your gut, if you feel that that's really good music and you feel like that's a great, strong song, separate it. So essentially what you've got on this side, you're going to have your art on this side. And then here, you're going to have the music that you use for syncing, for licensing. And basically the whole idea is to take the music that's for sync and then go to town with it. Like, have fun with it, really cooperate with other people. There's none of this sort of like, onerous guilt that keeps you up at night thinking that, man, I don't want to change my music too much or anything, because it's all fair game on that side of the fence, right? I mean, all the songs over here can be whatever they want to be, and you don't have to put your name on it. You can put it under a label or a company name or whatever. And that can be strictly for licensing and making money. And then you can really target it. You can write cheesy lyrics if you want, but you can essentially, what I'm getting at is you could do anything you want. You can make it into anything that you think will fit, and you're not compromising your art, which is on this side of the fence. So that's a great tip for artists. I'm working with an artist right now who had that exact same problem, and he wasn't getting any sleep over it, and he didn't want to compromise his music. And that's exactly what I advise him to do. It's like, send me all your tunes. Let's pull out the strongest ones, the ones that really fit your flavor and your idea. That's going to be your art. And then form a label or a publishing company and stick all the wacky ones over there. Not wacky in general, but wacky for you. and then go work on them and do them completely differently than you normally would, but really, really target them to specific things. And that's how you'll pitch to music supervisors. And of course, when they're targeted like that, the music supervisor says, hey, I just finished placing a bunch of tunes that sound a lot like this. This is a great tune. It's a shoe-in. So that's where you want to be with licensing. All right, I hope that helped, and we'll talk to you next week. Until then, happy recording.